Welcome to the Seven Figure Builder Show. My name is Julie Baranek, founder of Seven Figure Builder, where we help high-achieving CEOs connect the dots in their business to scale to seven figures and beyond. And I'm here today with my friend Maya Weinreb. Hey, Maya.
Hi, good to see you.
Good to see you too. I'm thrilled to have you on today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is exciting.
Yeah, totally. I know. We've been trying to connect for a little bit, so I'm thrilled we were able
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
So first and foremost, where in the world are you?
I am in Florida near Tampa in a little town called Clearwater.
That's
Got
my
a great
favorite part of Florida, I have to
uh,
say.
it's got a great beach.
Oh my God, I love that area. Yes, it's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. I moved here in 2020 from LA. I started in LA and then here, and I just like the weather here better, and it's just kind of chill. It's got Now that I'm just working all the time, I don't really need the busy LA nightlife. So this works. It's like nice, chill. I'm just working all the time.
I love it. Yeah, I absolutely love that area. So I'll have to stop by and visit you sometime.
Yes, please.
So for people that haven't had the pleasure to meet you yet, can you tell us just a little bit about what you do with your business?
Yeah, I own a bookkeeping firm. We help business owners, service-based industries with full service bookkeeping. So we like to say it's a boutique bookkeeping firm with concierge level service.
I love it.
Yeah, there's a lot of accounting and bookkeeping firms out there that are very dry and they only do what they do. And of course, we can only do what we can do, but we try to be really full service and willing to, handhold when needed. We know that bookkeeping and IRS and taxes is all very confusing and stressful for people. So we just want to be able to be there for them. I think that's how I've built the company, is that we've done it really on just being service oriented and we're here to help.
I love that. Bookkeeping tends, at least in my mind, tends to be something people pull in partway down their journey, right? Like typically it's not upfront in their business, but where do you find that you help people the most in their journey? Who should be running to you for their help with bookkeeping?
Yeah, I mean, we help people in a lot of different times. I have people who have come to me who are already making 700,000 revenue and don't have any bookkeeping, and they kind of don't know if they can afford to hire that new employee or not. And, of course, they have some things going and they have numbers they give their CPA, but they don't really know what they're doing. And I've had some people who are like, listen, I just started my company. I expect to make revenue. I need help getting organized now, or, what's the first steps? And depending on where they're at, I will do a consultation. I'll be like, okay, good. Here's your homework. Here's the first few things to do with the bank accounts and da 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 da. And we also set up entities for people. I actually was doing a webinar yesterday with the CEO of CorpNet, and we use CorpNet to help set up entities. So we're doing LLCs and S Corp elections and all that. So we can help people anywhere from the beginning all the way up to like 15 million revenue, depending on their industry type, when you can afford us. But no matter what, we can always help. If you just started your company and you've only made a few $1,000s, it's probably not the right time to hire a bookkeeping firm. But if you just started your company, you only made a few $1,000s and you have no idea what you're supposed to be doing for tracking things for taxes, book a consultation. You get an hour and I will give you a rundown of exactly like da 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 da. Here's what you need to know. Here's what you need to do. And then if you ever need any help in the future, we can just do another consultation. So we can do anywhere from that to the bigger companies that we have that are in the $10-15 million revenue range, that we're doing 25 hours of bookkeeping every week, where we're doing all of the books, we're doing all of the payroll, paying the bills, doing the 1099s, all the reports, the sales tax, everything. So we have all different sizes.
And I think that one of the critical things I heard is you need a relationship with a bookkeeper. Like no matter what level you're at,
yes, exactly.
That's critical. And I love that, even at the beginning, like you save yourself time, money, and energy when you connect with people that's their expertise and that's where they shine. So they can give you the shortcuts. And then as you're growing, right, your needs will change and they'll get more complex. And that's where you really need them on a more consistent basis, it sounds like.
Exactly. Yeah. I just know, even for me, when I started my business and I already knew bookkeeping, but I didn't know how to do all, register for payroll in different states and all that. All those letters, like especially I have a remote firm, so I have bookkeepers and employees all over the US, and each state has its own laws and rules, and it gets complicated, and I get all these letters and it's like, okay, what do I need to do on this one? And I have a pretty good understanding of all of that. So I can just imagine, and I know because they tell me how business owners who that's not their area of expertise, whether they're a dentist or a marketing professional, like their area of expertise is not bookkeeping, documents, IRS, payroll. So these letters that come in just feel overwhelming. And for us, it's like, okay, yeah, that's a 2-hour call with Washington State and we'll get that sorted out for you.
Yeah. No, and I believe wholeheartedly in surrounding myself with people that are smarter than I am that complement my weaknesses. And I think that's really important, that then you can focus on your area of expertise and really shine where you need to be in your business, but bring people in that's their area of expertise and they can really help you shine there.
Exactly. That's why I hire marketing people, because that is not my area of expertise. Someone says, oh, we need a blah, blah, blah in a different format. And I'm like, what now? Or, send me your pitch deck. And I'm like, oh yeah, someone made me one of those once. That's not my area.
Yeah, no, it's the truth, the absolute truth. So what are some things, like when people are at that 6-7 figure mark, what are some things they need to keep in mind or they might not be thinking of that's, critical for the success of their business?
Yeah. So one of the things is that not all CPAs do tax planning. So even if you have a CPA that you work with, you want to make sure that they do tax planning for you. If they say they don't do it, then find someone who does. If you love your CPA, keep your CPA, but find just a tax planner. But you have to, when you're in the 6-7 figure mark, if you don't have tax planning, you're wasting money. You're throwing money away on taxes. There's a lot of things that a tax planner will tell you to do in order to get organized to not waste money, not spend money you don't need to spend. But most CPAs, even if they offer that as a service, they're not going to offer it unless you ask them. I have a CPA who's great, and he'll tell me, oh, if you do this, you'll save money, and we even do tax planning meetings throughout the year, but he'll just come out and tell me, oh, you did it like this. If you do it like this, you'll save money. And I'm like, great. But most CPAs don't do that. And I have the best CPA and he won't take any more clients. So my clients are like, well, who's your CPA? And I'm like, yeah, he's booked. He doesn't want any more. I ask him every year and he says no. So you really have to ask your CPA, like, hey, do you do tax planning? Can we do a tax planning meeting? It's very important. And one of the first things for tax planning that you're going to want to look at is if you are in the 6-7 figure mark. If you're making over 100,000 in your business, you're making over 50,000 profit, you should most likely be electing to be taxed as an S corporation. Your CPA may not have told you that. It's very important because if you're still self-employed or you're an LLC, a single member LLC, which is taxed the same as self-employed, you are spending too much money on taxes because you're paying those self-employment taxes. Whereas when you elect to be taxed as an S corporation, you actually don't have to pay the self-employment taxes. You have to pay income tax on all of your profit. And one of the rules is you have to have a payroll. The business owner has to be on salary or on payroll. They have to pay payroll taxes, and they have to be compensating themselves a reasonable salary, which could change depending on your state and your industry. But once that's paid, then all the money that you pay yourself as a draw or an owner's distribution or shareholder distribution is only taxed on income tax. And that's a big, tax loophole that important to be aware of, because that is where most business owners will save the most amount of money on taxes. It is a pain in the ass. You do have to now set up payroll and payroll taxes, and there's certain rules that apply to S corporations. For instance, if you have employees, if you're paying your own medical expenses out of your company, you'd have to make a policy that all employees get that, things like that, because now you're an employee. If you have employees, if you don't have employees, then you just have to be the employee yourself. There's different things like that. But that's one of the main things that I would say. A lot of people come to me and they don't know about, and they say, how come my CPA never told me this? And again, that comes back to, you didn't ask for tax planning. And while it would be nice if all the CPAs were very proactive and thought about all that, they're probably going through 1,000 different people's taxes and they're just filing. So you have to ask for that. You have to ask, how could I save money on taxes? And also, you could research, if it's a really like confusing, stressful area for you, then hire someone, get a bookkeeper, reach out to us. But we will always recommend that if I see that in someone's revenue level, that they should do that.
And how do like consultants and contractors factor into that?
Consultants and contractors wouldn't be employees unless, I mean, you have to look at what the definition of employee is compared to contractors. So there's certain people who maybe should be employees and aren't. And I would recommend that you make them employees if you're working for you 40 hours a week, if you're directing their schedule, you're directing their work. And if they're doing the same thing you're doing, like if you're a marketing company and you hire people to do marketing, they full-time for you, they probably should be employees. If you are a contracting company, like let's say you're a painting company and you hire a marketing person to come in 5 hours a week or something, then that would qualify most likely as a contractor. The IRS has certain rules and definitions. As any business owner would need to make sure that you file 1099s on all of those at the end of the year. And the best rule of thumb is to collect a W-9 from the contractor before you pay them. Because sometimes at the end of the year, you might not have correct contact information. They might think you're paying them under the table. But if you don't file a 1099 on every contractor that you pay, you could be liable for all of their self-employment taxes. So you definitely want to make sure you file those 1099s. In order to do that, you have to get them to fill out a W-9. And a W-9 is really simple. It's literally their name, address, business structure, and tax ID.
Right.
I don't know if that totally answers your question, but that would be that. And also on that, there's a lot of people or companies that get hired that business owners don't consider are contractors, but they are. If anything that you're saying is a business expense, that is a service that you purchased, is a contractor. So if you hired a marketing company, it's a contractor. If you hired a company to wash your windows for your company, for your building, it's a contractor. So you have to think with any service that you pay for that's not an employee is a contractor and would need a 1099. There are more rules. If they're a corporation, they don't need a 1099. If you paid them by credit card, there's more rules, but in general, you should get a W-9 from all of them so you know whether they qualify to receive a 1099 or not. Because again, if you don't do that 1099, you could be liable for the self-employment taxes, and you don't want that.
Yeah. And that's the critical part of planning ahead and getting ahead of this rather than having it hit you from behind. But
yeah.
And what are any tax deductions that people don't normally think about, like Section 179 or, things like that they could be missing out on?
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny because there's so many like tax deductions that are talked about, like when you get TikTok tax advice, and it often applies, but it doesn't always apply. So you have to really make sure you get the data from your CPA, because if you come into your CPA and go, I heard that I could, then TikTok said, like, it may or may not apply to your tax situation, and your CPA is going to have all the information. But yeah, I believe you're talking about the vehicle one, right? Heavy vehicle. Yeah. So if you own a company and I don't remember the exact weight. I think it's 6,000.
6,000. Yeah.
Yeah. 6,000.
I asked because I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
We found that because we were digging in from our personal side, like, what are we missing out on? And that was something, but yes, it's a 6,000 pound vehicle gross weight.
Exactly. Then that can be written off, or a large portion of it can be written off in that tax year. Now, those types of things are if you have extra money that you don't know what to do with, and instead of paying it to the IRS, you can purchase a vehicle. Some people are not in that situation and they're just like, well, I don't have, you tell them at the end of the year, oh, you owe 100,000 to the IRS. Like, I don't have 100,000. Well, of course you don't, because you probably spent it. So that's when you do the tax planning and do the things that will make more of what you're already spending money on deductible.
Exactly.
So things, yeah. So there's that one. That's a good one. There's another one, which I believe is called the Augusta rule, where you can rent out your property to your business for 14 days out of the year to get a tax write-off or a fair market value. So there's that. And that's something where you're already paying rent. So you don't have to go out and purchase anything. You do have to have paperwork. So you'd have to create a rental agreement or, whatever, so that there's documentation, because the IRS, if they ever audit you, is going to want documentation. And speaking of auditing you, there was last year or some months ago, the IRS hired new employees, and I'm sure a lot of them are going to be auditors. So things that they've probably been lax on could potentially not be lax anymore. So we have to make sure we cross our T's and dot our I's at this point on documentation.
100%. Yeah, no, that's critical.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that one. And then retirement planning. There's a qualified retirement planning is all tax deductible, lots of different things like that. Certain things not tax deductible for your business, but the interest is, and it's like sort of a way you can save your money on retirement planning is also getting a life insurance policy. Again, it's not tax deductible for your business, your life insurance policy, but you can use that for saving money and retirement planning and all that. I unfortunately don't know all of what is the tax, what's pre-tax, post-tax, but there's all of your CPA, all of your retirement planning, most of it is tax deductible and helpful for your taxes. So I would go look into that. I don't do investment things, so I stay away from that. I'm not licensed, but I know that you should do retirement planning, and I'm working on mine. And then deductions that people miss, the main places that people miss deductions is in not having bookkeeping. When your books are messy and you are paying for things out of a personal account and sometimes out of a business account, or you don't have a business account and you're mixing it, you're going to be missing deductions and you're going to end up paying more for the IRS, because anything that's a regular and ordinary business expense should be paid out of your business account, and then you can track it as a business deduction. If you're traveling for business purposes, not if you're going to Disneyland and you're also going to talk about business, but if you're going to a business conference, if you're going for an educational trip, if you're going to meet a client, or even a networking meeting, any of those, all of those travel expenses are tax deductible. Your office, your home office expense, if you work from your own apartment or your own house, the square footage that is dedicated to work would be tax deductible. So that would include that square footage percentage of the mortgage or rent, security, utilities, maintenance, all of that would have a home office deduction. So those are things people miss. It's funny, there's some things people kind of take deductions on that I kind of go, okay. And then some things that people miss, like some people, every time they go out to eat, they say it's a business meal because they talk about their business. And I mean, I understand, but I think that the IRS would not agree with you because you have to eat anyways, right? A lot of influencers and actors will say that all of their clothes are deductions. And the IRS would not agree with you because you have to wear clothes anyways. And even though you bought that dress for a red carpet event or for something, if you can also wear it to anything else, it's not a business deduction. So, there's things like that. You have to look at each thing and be like, what was the purpose of this? Was its original purpose business? And am I going to use it only for business? Like, in the same way that the office space has to be a dedicated space for your office, it wouldn't really work if you just used your living room,
Right.
Because you also sit there and watch Netflix. So,
of course.
Yeah. So things like that.
Awesome. And as we're working with a bookkeeper, what does that look like as far as those check-ins, just to make the business owner's, life working smarter, not harder?
Yes, I'm all about working smarter, not harder, and keeping it simple.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. Because I agree, as a business owner, you started your business because you wanted to do XYZ. You wanted to do marketing. You wanted to be a dentist. You wanted to be an actor, an influencer, whatever you wanted to do. And then all of a sudden, now you're also the bookkeeper, and now you're also the this, also the that. And those are not all tasks that you signed up for. and they're going to take you a long time. They're going to be stressful. So it's in the spirit of work smarter, not harder. Hire professionals, have people around you that are smarter than you on those things. That's why you hire a lawyer. It's why you hire a CPA. You don't know all of that. Those people spent years and years studying it. For us, what we do is, depending on the frequency, some people we do weekly bookkeeping for, some people we do monthly, and some quarterly. So depending on the frequency is when you would expect to hear from us. A lot of clients, we just do monthly bookkeeping. We send them their books. We will send a P&L and a balance sheet and any other reports that they've asked for. We send it once a month. We'll send a preliminary one with questions. We have an app that we use, which is amazing. It's called Uncat, which stands for uncategorized. And the app has like pictures of cats all over it. It's super cute. So we use the app. If there's any transactions that we don't know what they are, we're going to send you a link to that plus a report. So we'll say, here's your preliminary, here's questions we have. You can just go in the app. It's got a little magic code. You just type in the answers. Then we update it and send you final reports. So then you know that we're working on it every month. If you need your P&L, it's right there. I hate when I hear clients say, I asked my bookkeeper for a P&L and it took them 3 months to get it to me. Because to me, that means your bookkeeper wasn't working on it every month, that they had to now fit in catching it up. And I just hate that, because as much as I'm a people person, I'm very organized and I have lists and I'm a perfectionist and things need to be a certain way. So every client's books get done every month that's signed up for monthly, right? If they signed up for quarterly, then they get quarterly. Plus any payroll stuff. So any payroll notices you get, registrations when you hire someone, all you have to do is tell us, hey, I hired someone new, and give us the email address, and we'll send them the documents for them to fill out and onboard them for you as far as the, payroll side. And we send out the 1099s for you. We're going to ask, do you want us to collect W-9s or are you collecting them? So we're like pretty full service, depending on, what your budget is what we can do.
I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get bogged down in those details and get overwhelmed because, like you said, you don't have to do everything. You don't have to know everything. Like, focus on your zone of genius. But
yeah,
how would you encourage business owners to have fun in their business again? Like, it's so easy for us to get burned out. What have you found?
Yeah. Wow. That is such a good question. No one's asked me that ever. How do you encourage business owners to have
What
fun?
a crazy thought.
Yeah.
Enjoy
fun.
what you do.
I guess for me, as a business owner myself, I would say what's fun for me is when I make goals, like, I set goals and then I work towards achieving them. And it's funny because it's not the actual achieving of them, because whenever I actually achieve a goal, now I've like won and I'm bored again. So I have to make new goals, bigger goals before I hit my goals. So I'm always making, seriously, I've gone into this, like when I started my business, I went into entrepreneur depression and I've heard of a lot of people go through it, because I like made a big revenue month and then I was like, now what?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to get out of bed for a few months. And I was telling my friends, I think I'm depressed. And they were like, what are you talking about? Like, because I'm always laughing and stuff. And I was like, yeah. They're like, no, depression is like when you don't want to get out of bed and you don't want to do anything. And I'm like, yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah. And I had to really get inspired again. But as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, there's not really anyone else that can inspire you except yourself. So you have to really take that. You have to get rid of the self-doubt and the voices telling you can't do it or whatever, and just make new goals and start working towards them. And that's what's fun for me. It's like in achieving those goals and all of the different things that you have to do in order to achieve them. There was recently in my company, we have a Slack channel, and some of my employees were like, started complaining about clients. And I was like, no, that is not the culture that we want to have. And I was like, it's probably my fault, because I probably was like, oh, that client's annoying or something, right? And I was like, so as the leader of this girl power group, because they're all women, I have to change the culture. And so I said, guys, I'm sorry if I have made you think that it's okay, but all our clients are amazing people. And I know that because when they're not, I fire them. If they're giving my bookkeepers too hard of a time or whatever, I get really mama bear and I'm like, no, the bookkeeper is more important. Thank you. My team is more important to me. I only want nice clients. And so all of them are. So if the client is sending an email or they're upset, I know it's just because they're confused. Finances is confusing. Why it took us 3 hours with Tennessee on the phone is confusing to them. They haven't done it themselves. We're the experts. So we just have to be willing to meet with them and explain it to them and be able to look at it from their point of view. And so even that, while it's not like a fun conversation and it's not an easy thing, sometimes having the hard conversations gets you closer towards achieving your goals. My mission statement for my company is complete and perfect financial records for the business owner's peace of mind. So one of my goals is for all of my clients to have peace of mind. So if I'm having clients that are like, I don't understand this, and why is this? That means they're not having peace of mind. So how can I help my employees help my clients achieve peace of mind? So obviously that's a never-ending goal, and I can't make a bigger goal than that one. But as far as but other goals like revenue targets, sales targets, completion targets on tasks, open tickets, I have KPIs on everything. And I work on achieving the next goal, and that's what makes me happy. And that's what makes it fun for me. So I don't know if everybody's like me, but I would say that creating those goals, working towards them, and then never settling on sitting on your laurels when you achieve it, because I don't know about everyone else, but I get bored and I have to make a new goal in order to keep it fun and entertaining. When people ask me what I do for fun, and I'm like, what do you mean? I build a business. It's so much fun.
I built an empire. What else could be more fun than that?
Yeah, I have another business I started. I'm doing podcasts. I'm doing networking events. This is fun. This is the funnest. This is the best time I've ever had in my life. And I know entrepreneurs understand, but there's also some of the lowest lows, you get a client really upset or couldn't achieve something that you wanted to do and you failed at it, and you have to be able to build yourself up. So I also do motivational stuff. I listen to a lot of Grant Cardone, 10X. I don't know. Have you heard of him? Yeah. So I have a 10X button on my desk when he was selling those gimmicks. And I love it because every once in a while I just hit it and I start laughing because he's like, how he talks. He's like, come on, get going. Don't sit like that. And you're like, okay.
That's awesome.
Some people hate him and, think he's too aggressive. And I get that too. But I'm Israeli. I was born in Israel. So I feel like it kind of has a similar energy, even though I'm a little nicer in my, energy. But yeah.
That's awesome.
That was a very good question. I've never had anyone ask me that before.
Thank you. I have a couple more of those.
Yeah.
But no, and I love it that you're results oriented, service driven, satisfaction of your clients. And that's what's made you incredibly successful, right? And
yeah, that's what I strive for. I mean, I don't know if incredibly successful is the people making, millions, and I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it.
Right. To that point, you've accomplished a ton in your business. You have extremely satisfied clients, but what do you see as success? How do you define that? What does that look like for you?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's also a really good question because I think that's a personal thing that's different for everyone. I don't have kids. And so I have a dog. He's super cute, but
Yes,
he doesn't take that. I mean, I take him on walks and stuff and we cuddle, but he doesn't take that much work. There's a lot of, especially in my industry, there's a lot of moms. And I think how they define success is going to be different than how I define success. For them, when they have work-life balance, when their family has everything they need and they have the time to spend with their family and they're not working all the time. And I think that's beautiful. But for me, that's not it because I don't have other things that I want to spend my time on. For me, success is, I think, always around the corner. Yes, I have achieved success, but I don't ever want to stop. I don't ever want to feel okay, I've achieved it, because I want to always compare myself against myself and do better than I was doing before. But there's certain things maybe when I can justify buying that Chanel purse that I want and not feel like I should be investing that into my business. But again, like I could buy the Chanel purse, but I'd rather buy a first class ticket to somewhere I want to go. So it's like when buying a Chanel purse is the same as, you know, buying a Target purse, because it's like, yeah, I don't have to think about it. I know that I have enough money that I'm investing into my business. You know, that's like one level of success, but then that can't be the only level of success, because someday I'll achieve that, or someone will buy me one and I'll be like, oh, well, now what? So
Right.
that's why I feel like success, how I define it, is like always that next goal. Maybe the next goal is the $10 million revenue. Maybe it's a 10 million net worth, you know, whatever it is. It's like always have the next goal. And obviously you have to have gratitude. Like it's not that I'm like, whatever, I'm not successful. Like I'm successful. I worked hard to get here. My team is amazing. Every single one of them is amazing. I thank them. I try to remember to tell them as much as I possibly can that they're rock stars. My clients are amazing, that, you know, they're loyal, they're there, they pay me money, and everybody that's ever helped me. Even just recently, I walked into a room and I was waiting for something. He was at a doctor's office, and there was a guy there who owned like a, I don't know, a billions dollar company, public company. And he was just sitting there and I was like, oh my gosh, can I pick your brain? And he was like, absolutely. And he gave me a reading list of books I should read. He gave me his email address and was like, if you ever have any questions, send me. And, you know, like once a month, you can send me an email.
That's
and
awesome.
was just, that willing to mentor me. And that is like, how can I not have gratitude and feel blessed to be able to have networks like that of people where, for instance, where I know like I want to buy more bookkeeping firms to put into my company. And I couldn't buy one by myself, but I know that in my network, I have 5 or 10 people who, if I said, hey, there's this bookkeeping firm, I vetted it, it's a really good deal, blah, 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 blah. I just need an investor, I would get one because that's my network. And I love that. And I feel like having that amazing network is also a sign of success. Like, you know, you have to be in the room. You can't be the most successful person in the room, right? Or else you have to get into a different room. So I've got some friends and clients and people in my network that are way more successful than me, but in certain areas. And everybody has things, right? Maybe they're unhappy in their marriage, or they have health things or whatever. You never really know everything. So how people define success is just very, very personal. But for me, I think it goes along with what I've been saying, always like achieving that next thing. Because if I stagnate, I feel like then I'm not successful, even though I've achieved success and I hopefully haven't like moved backwards into less success. I can't be stagnant. I have to always be moving forward. Next.
Yeah. No, and I think it comes down to personal and professional growth. Like when you,
Yeah.
and I'm very similar where I'm a lifetime learner. I'm always learning new
Yes.
things. And when you are constantly comparing yourself to yourself, nobody can push you more than that. And that's how you blow away your competition. And that's a non-issue. So I love that. That's how I function too.
Yeah. And I see, you know, over 150 different companies' books. I know what their revenues are. I know what they're doing. And it's really easy for me to go, wow, they're already making $10 million. They just started their company 2 years ago. I've been doing this for 5 years and I'm only making, you know, and I try really hard not to do that, because maybe it's their 5th company and their experience and their network, you know, where this was the first company I started, and I started as a bookkeeper, deciding to have my own clients, not knowing anything about business other than the bookkeeping side of it. So just compare yourself to yourself. And it's like, when people tell me, oh, don't you want to have more time so you can have time off? I'm like, no. I want more time so I can do more things, so I can start another company, so I can figure out a new strategic plan, so I can travel around the country and do networking meetings, because I want to have more success. But that's what's fun for me. Other people want to have more time so they can spend more time with their family, so they can chill more at the beach. I love going to the beach. I just went to Cancun for my birthday for a whole 3-day weekend, and I was rejuvenated and refreshed, and I was excited to be back at work.
That's awesome. So you've got amazing things going on in your business, but what can people expect from you next?
I think I'm going to stay in my lane as far as in the finance and bookkeeping industry. I want to make a bookkeeping class for business owners. So I have that on the horizon. There's a lot of bookkeeping schools and classes for bookkeepers, but I feel like business owners need a different level of like, yeah, I don't need to know all this. Like, what do I need to know to, move forward? They don't need to be experts. So when they're not ready yet to hire a bookkeeper, or even if, they're a bigger company and they have in-house bookkeepers, but those bookkeepers need help and they don't need to know how to do bookkeeping for every scenario. They just need to know how to do that. So that's kind of the next thing I want to do. I also have some partnerships I'm looking at for specific industries, bookkeeping for those industries, because we specialize in service-based industries. I didn't really niche. All the marketing people are like, you should niche. And I'm like, I niched in service-based industries. I have some partnerships I'm doing with that. And then I have a webinar podcast that I have been kind of slacking on that I'm trying to get back going, and a lot of networking. So I guess people should just expect to see a lot more of me, like my face planted everywhere. That's kind of my plan, and just really building my business and in the spirit of how can we help? Whenever I've gotten into situations where I feel like, why is sales so hard this week? I realize I have my focus on the wrong thing. The focus isn't on, or shouldn't be on, I need money or I need sales because I need my numbers, but I need to help people. This is such an area that people need help and they want help. So how can I help more people? And whenever the focus shifts to that, that's when I get more sales and that's when my company grows. People should expect to see me helping more people because I want to help as many people as I can. I love helping business owners. It's a personal purpose of mine to help business owners succeed. I think it helps everyone. When you've got, successful business owners, it's good for the economy, it's good for the world, it's good for their families, it's good for their communities. So I think that would be the best answer. People should expect to see me helping more and more people.
I love it. I love it. Love it. So if you had the attention of the whole world for 5 minutes, what would you tell them?
Oh my gosh, you're asking me hard questions, man. You should have sent me a prompt sheet for this. If I had the attention of the whole world for 5 minutes, gosh, I don't think I would even talk about bookkeeping. I think I would just probably do some kind of an inspirational, because I think bookkeeping is super important, but it's such a small part of life and happiness. It's a big part of business, but I think I would talk about do big, dream big, achieve your goals, make goals. Some people don't even write down their goals or don't have goals. I talk to people because I'm dating too, and I'm like, oh, what do you do? Like, oh, I work, at a grocery store. Well, cool. What are your goals? And they're like, oh, no one's asked me that before. Like, oh, well, is
That's a good thing to have.
Yeah, is that what you want to do? Do you want to work at a grocery store? Do you want to be the manager at the grocery store? Is that your life goals? And I'm like, oh, I have to think about it. So I think it's just so important to have goals. When I was a teenager, I thought that I had to find a purpose. And I thought that I would have a divine sign of what my purpose was in life, because I was very much floating around like a leaf in the wind. And then I finally realized that it's not that way. I mean, maybe for some people, I definitely have friends, they're actors or they're doctors, and they're like, yeah, I just knew from a young age that that's what I want to do. And I'm like, that's incredible. And I'm so happy for you. But for a lot of people, it's not that way. And you can't just look for a purpose. You have to go make yourself a purpose. So you have to go get goals, what do I want to achieve in my life? Or, find things that you like, find things that you're passionate about. People ask me if I'm passionate about bookkeeping, and I don't think I'm passionate about bookkeeping, but I'm passionate about helping people, and I'm passionate about being an entrepreneur, and I found a vehicle that would help me achieve that. And so that's sometimes how you have to look at it. Maybe you're not passionate about, I don't know, being a grocery store clerk, and that is understandable, but maybe you are, and maybe you're passionate about helping people. Maybe you're passionate about health and you want people to get the right products, so find the things that you are passionate about, and then get the correct vehicle that helps you achieve those goals. At one point I said, okay, well, I want to help people. I want to be an accountant. I'm going to go to school. So I was working full time and I started going to school for accounting. And I realized I didn't have any time to help people because I was working full time and then I was in school full time. When I wasn't in school, I was doing homework.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, that plan does not achieve, it's going to take me 8 to 9 years on a part-time basis to get this. And that does not achieve my goals anytime soon. I can't work on what I want to do now. So I said, F it, I'm going to hire accountants. And so that's what I do now. And I'm happy I made that decision. I don't have a degree and I'm okay with that because I love what I'm doing and I'm helping a lot of people. I think if I had everybody's attention for 5 minutes, that's what I would harp on. I would just be like, find something, like what makes you happy? And then how can you achieve that? And obviously it's not that every single thing that I do in my business makes me happy. There's hard conversations, there's bad days, but I love being able to help people and I love the journey.
I love that. No, I couldn't agree more. So how can listeners support you in your work? Where can they find you online?
Yeah, they can go to my website, solvencynow.com. If they need any help, they can send me an email at Maya, M-A-Y-A, at solvencynow.com. We also have a Facebook page, Solvency Now Bookkeeping, and Instagram page, Solvency Now Bookkeeping, LinkedIn, Solvency Now Bookkeeping. Also, I have public profiles personally under all of those. You can always go look at all of the funny things that I post. There's a lot of them are about bookkeeping. And we actually started a TikTok page, but it's kind of on pause because I need to make it better. I need a better marketing editor person, social media person. But we even have a TikTok page, which is, again, Solvency Now Bookkeeping. And you can message me on any of the social medias too, and I'll get the message or my team will get the message. An email, and we have contact us boxes on our website. You could probably send a smoke signal and say, Maya, help. And yeah, I'll be there. Exactly. So, but solvencynow.com is our website, and it's a cool website. We just got it made, a new website a few months ago. So it's all pretty and modern looking, and it's got most of my team's pictures on it. And pretty much any business owner, I can help them. If I can't help them directly, I could refer them to someone. And if they're just starting out, I can do a consultation and help them figure out the next few steps. If they have been doing this for a while and they are trying to do it on their own, I can help them. If they've been doing it for a while and their bookkeeper never sends them reports or they can't get a hold of them, I can help them. So I'm here to help.
I love it. And we'll have all the links below for people to come check out your website and come see all the amazing stuff you're doing and get your help with their business. So thank you, Maya, for being on today.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening to me. You got me all inspired again. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go on a stage and go do an inspirational talk now. You've got me inspired to do that.
Awesome. I love it. You found it inspiring. Please do share it. That's how people find us. And you can find me at sevenfigurebuilder.com. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.